Welcome to the Longevity and Hormone Health podcast. I'm Dr. Fareeha Rizvi. I'm a consultant in diabetes, endocrinology, and obesity medicine, and I am joined today by Sandra.
Hi, welcome. I am Sandra, a midlife coach and holistic healer.
Excellent. So, Sandra, we have talked a lot in episode 1 about the
hmm
basics of menopause, and we wanted women to advocate for themselves. We've talked a lot about symptoms, diagnosis, so many things. But what women actually want, what people want, is practical tips
Yes.
that they can implement and start feeling better immediately.
Yeah.
We will talk about HRT, but today we're not talking about HRT yet.
Okay.
We are talking about day-to-day things that everyone can do to start feeling better. So I have so many things that I want to talk about, but particularly diet. So let's start with diet.
Yeah.
What advice do you give your clients about diet? Is there anything in particular you tell them?
Well, I am not a clinician, so I will say to them, well, first of all, we have a questionnaire, so I'll ask them
Yep.
about what their diet is. And more often than not, initially say, oh no, I'm really healthy, blah, blah, blah. And then it
Yep.
all kind of like, and then you go,
So,
okay,
so
okay.
that's such a powerful tool, actually writing down and for people to acknowledge what
Yeah.
they're eating, even that.
Yeah, because I think that's the thing. Like, when it's something like this, it's not for me to just tell them.
Mm,
They kind of, what I
yes.
try to encourage is for them to take responsibility themselves, because when they take responsibility themselves, then the wins, they feel more. You know
You're
what I
you're
mean?
so right.
So I will say to them, to have a look at what they're doing, and then we've got someone like yourself on
Yep.
board. We've also got some great strength trainers, which we can talk about as well. But I would ask them really, what is it that you're eating? When are you eating? What times?
Mm.
What's the portion size like? That kind of stuff.
So just writing down, putting pen to paper, we call this in medicine, we call it diet recall. So
Mm,
it's a section that I include in all of my consultations, diet recall. And people tell me exactly that, oh, I just eat chicken and salad all day.
yeah.
And I say, no, tell me
The
what you
truth.
eat for
Yeah.
breakfast, lunch, dinner, what
Yeah.
snacks you have, what drinks do you drink?
Yeah.
Do you get up and eat in the middle of the night? All of these things. I
Mm.
want to know exactly what everyone is eating. And this goes for midlife men as well, not just women.
Yes. Huge amongst men. Yeah. Yeah.
So first step is acknowledging, putting pen to paper, writing down exactly what you're eating,
Yeah.
and then we have a good foundation and starting point. So specifically though for menopause and midlife, I have a few non-negotiables.
Right.
So that is cutting out all sugar.
Oh gosh.
So sugar is really inflammatory. We
Yeah.
talked about insulin resistance. So I have pretty much given up sugar for the last 7 years or so. I have, the occasional bite of ice cream or bite of, if you go to a restaurant here, nice kunafa, just one bite, and I find that
How
satisfies
can you
me.
do one bite?
But I find now if I actually have more sugar than that,
Yeah.
I actually start to feel inflamed. So my joints
Really?
start to
Yeah.
hurt. I get brain fog, my back starts to hurt. So actually, I don't
Mm.
really enjoy sugar, but it's taken me a long time. I was your typical chocoholic. I tell my patients this story. I'm digressing a bit, but as a diabetes trainee doctor, I used to go get to the hospital at 8:30, 8:30, 8 a.m. in the morning. And on my way to the hospital, I would buy a bag of cookies and a massive vanilla latte.
Oh
And
my
I would
gosh.
log into my computer, be writing my notes, drinking the coffee, and and having
Does
those
anyone have
cookies.
any pictures?
So that used to be my breakfast. And then
Wow.
and then I was, surprised as to why I felt like garbage all
Yeah.
day
Yeah.
because I wasn't eating well. So
Yeah.
first non-negotiable is giving up sugar. The
Mm.
next two things that we absolutely have to prioritize are protein and fiber. And actually, we have to build our meals around the protein and fiber. And this is a slight flipping of the narrative
Mm.
where we tend to build our meals around the carbs. So rice, I'm going to have rice tonight or pasta tonight or
Yes. Yeah.
chapati or,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
or noodles.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to change the narrative. It's a really simple thing that anyone can do is what is your protein? So that can be your chicken, fish, eggs, salmon,
Yeah.
lentils, that sort of thing. Protein as the priority, then your fiber, which is green vegetables, salads, sauteed vegetables, and then you have your small portion of carbs. So this is a basic thing that anyone can do. I'll put more details in the caption. I'll try and find some images for people.
I think you can get a plate actually,
yes,
can't
diabetes,
you?
yeah, so I call it the diabetes healthy plate.
Right.
But anyone can really follow that. You're quite right. And I have some images on my social media, but you're absolutely right. I show that to my patients dozens of times a day in the clinic, how to build a healthy plate.
I think that's great. And that's why I love working with you, because I will say that, you know, a lot of women who are going through this transition, perimenopause, menopause, right? They do have the best intentions. These are women a lot of the time who historically have, you know, been a gym bunny, you know, 5-6 times a week. They've had the healthy salad and the protein. But when this hits them, then they just feel so bad. And I think we touched on it on the last podcast, where it's almost like, you know, it's a self-soothing, but they go through the whole day, you know, dealing with it. And then at night time, they just feel so kind of out of sorts and low. And then they just find themselves in that fridge light blaring at them. And it's like, what have I got? What have I got? What have I got? And it's usually sugar.
This is exactly where a life coach needs to step in and coach people, because I can talk about nutrition till their ears are bleeding, but until those behavior change, like habits start to change and people start to recognize their own symptoms and habits, nothing will change. So this is where your perspective as a coach is so important. And the other thing is, which we haven't mentioned, is often when they gain weight, women in midlife and men, they will often restrict and over restrict their food. And that is so dangerous, because I see people that will not eat all day and then they're starving hungry, like insatiable hunger at night. And that is the absolute worst thing, because you just don't feel well like that, right? So it's the behavior. You know, I'm not here to blame or shame anyone, neither are you.
No, not at all.
But it's to empower people to kind of recognize, okay, they need to eat this kind of way with the protein and fiber, have the healthy carbohydrates, space out their meals so they're not starving hungry at any particular time of day, and really have food to fuel and nourish them.
That is so important. And you know what? The internet can be a good thing and a bad thing, because there are so many fads and crazes and this, and there's so much, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. I mean, we've now got like these little, you know, little characters that are all telling us, you know, like these cartoony things. And it's like, well, actually, that's not right.
No.
You know, but when someone like yourself gives the proper, you know, clinical, traditional way to do it, and then, you know, someone kind of, you know, guiding you and saying, you know, did you do that? Have a look at that. It works so much better.
It does.
You know,
and we're here to build habits. So a habit's not going to change overnight.
No.
It may take a month, 2 months, 3 months, but it will not happen overnight. And any small wins that anyone can achieve can really compound with time.
Yes. I use that word a lot, compound. It's so important. Like, you know, you just, it's just one win per day. That's 7 wins. You know, that's 28. It just goes on, and it just your body, you know, it just literally changes, it shifts within, you know.
That's like so powerful. And the problem is I only get kind of 20 minutes with my patients. But hopefully I get to see them again and again, and hopefully I get to build a relationship with them. But specifically about protein, because I know people want specifics. Women in midlife should aim for 1.2 grams to around 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So anyone who's listening who calculates their weight in like stones or pounds, you need to convert that to kilograms, and then you aim for 1.2 grams to 1.6 grams. In fact, you can even go up to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. So for example, a woman who is 70 kilos, for example, she can eat up to 140 grams of protein
Wow.
very
That, see,
safely.
that sounds a lot, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
well,
That
it is.
sounds like you're eating like, I don't know, the whole sheep for your a whole farm, you know what I mean? It sounds a lot.
It is a lot.
So if you look at some of these people then that
Mm.
maybe, you know, in a lot of cultures only eat one meal a day. They have
Yeah,
one meal a day.
yeah,
How can they incorporate that much protein
yeah,
without feeling like they're just force feeding
yeah.
themselves?
So it will be something like 4 eggs as an omelette for breakfast. That's not actually that much because you could have it with a bit of cheese and some vegetables.
Yeah,
Maybe you don't have to have the bread, maybe just one small slice or half a slice of brown bread,
yeah.
and that will genuinely keep you full. Other things are things like Greek yogurt and chia seed pudding
Mm,
with some fruit,
yeah,
berries or a banana, for example. The fiber can be vegetables or it can be oats, chia seeds, or even something like psyllium husk.
yeah.
These three forms of fiber have been shown to reduce cholesterol and reduce
Mm,
blood sugar. And you mentioned insulin resistance. We talk about insulin resistance a lot on this podcast,
yeah.
previous episodes as well. So these three forms of fiber, if you include those with each meal and vegetables, then it's actually not that difficult. And you will find when you prioritize protein and fiber
Yeah.
that you feel less hungry in between meals.
Yeah, I get less cravings when I'm on my when I get my adequate amount of protein.
Yes.
I get less sugar cravings for sure. Now, what about vegans?
Oh, goodness. So so
Sorry, I
yeah.
had to ask
So
because there will be
yes,
someone
you're
here. Yeah.
absolutely so in our region in the UAE, we have a big Indian population who are vegetarian and vegan,
Hmm.
and they don't eat eggs, so uh, they maybe have dairy, but they maybe won't even have eggs. So
Yeah.
then it does become a little bit trickier, but in fact, it's like so much more important that those people focus even more on how they're eating. So
Yeah.
I have so many women in midlife or going through perimenopause or menopause who are vegetarian
Mm.
or vegan.
Yeah.
So for them, it would be something like lentils, pulses, beans, peas. Protein is also found in a lot of different vegetables. The problem is, though, you have to eat quite a lot of the vegetables to
Yeah.
get
Together.
protein.
Yeah.
But there is protein in a lot of different vegetables. The
Yeah.
key for somebody who's vegan or vegetarian is to have variety
Mm.
because you need a lot of different amino acids. So you need a lot of different types of protein from different sources. If somebody is vegetarian but not vegan, then cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, paneer, these things are a great
Yes,
source of
it's
protein.
yeah, yeah.
Soy and tofu as well.
Mm.
These are also really good sources of protein. Soy can be a little bit problematic if someone has thyroid disease.
Right.
But again, you should, start eating soy if you've got no history of thyroid disease, and you could discuss that with your doctor, dietitian, or nutrition specialists separately.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of vegetarian and vegan sources of protein. But the key is prioritizing the protein at each meal,
Yeah.
not just falling into the traps of having just jam and toast for breakfast.
Why are you looking at
breakfast,
me
lunch,
like
and breakfast,
that?
lunch, and dinner
Yeah.
because it's easy and convenient. So you
Mhm.
do have to be more careful if you're vegetarian or vegan
Yeah.
to really keep protein at the center of your meals.
Right. And is there a difference? I think this is interesting for in case anyone shows this to their partners who's
Yeah.
having a bit of weight with their tums or
Mm.
whatever. Is there a difference in terms of how proteins and stuff like that is broken down by men and how they should eat protein and
Yeah,
stuff,
that's a
especially if
good
they're going
question.
to the gym and stuff like that?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. I'm not an expert on this, but what I have learnt through my clinical experience and research is women in perimenopause, menopause, and midlife, they often have a lot of difficulty digesting protein.
Right.
I'm sure you've come across this as well,
Yeah, yeah.
that the women feel a lot more bloated or
Mm,
full or gassy after it, so they mustn't suddenly increase their protein. Actually, that's really important.
right.
You have digestive enzymes in your stomach that digest the protein. So if women want to achieve their protein goals, it's probably a really good idea to build up the protein that they're taking over time.
Yeah. Okay.
Men don't tend to have that problem as much, but certainly can happen as men get older.
Yeah.
But women specifically, I've seen this many, many times. And often you may have come across this, some of our viewers may have come across difficulty digesting dairy
Yes.
as well. So these kinds of things really should be tailored to you as an individual. And then go and see a dietitian or nutritionist. They're two different things, I must say. Dietitians are medically trained specialists. Nutritionists are someone who's a bit more like a coach.
Yes.
So these two things are very different, but I have absolutely no problem if an individual wants to find a good dietitian or nutritionist, even online, and have a few sessions. I think that's great. Anything to, take control of the situation with regards to diet, I think is really important.
Yeah. Okay.
So next or lastly is sleep. I mean, we could talk about sleep in a podcast. There's so many podcasts about sleep, but really, I kind of leave sleep till the end because there's so much to say. But maybe we should really be talking about sleep right at the beginning, because none of these changes in terms of diet, exercise, protein, nothing will work until an individual is sleeping enough.
Yeah. I can actually see that for myself. If I have a week where I haven't had a good 8 hours sleep, then I can feel it. I notice it a lot. And it's almost like a vicious circle.
Yes, it is.
Because like if your hormones are kind of out of whack and out of sync, it's very difficult to sleep, especially if you're getting the night sweats and the hot flashes and all of this, and then you wake up tired, and then when you wake up tired you tend to look for nurturing foods, and then you just snowballs. Yeah.
So sleep affects our hormones in so many different ways. If we are sleep deprived, we are more insulin resistant. If we are sleep deprived, our cortisol goes up. If we are sleep deprived, then our hunger hormones go haywire. So GLP-1, the stuff that everyone's injecting, that's very much affected by sleep. Leptin, which keeps us full, that's the hormone that keeps us full, that goes down. And ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone, goes up, and they change disproportionately actually with sleep deprivation. And other things in men, testosterone is really affected by sleep so much. So all of our hormones basically are meant to be made in what we call a circadian rhythm, a beautiful cycle which, God or Mother Nature, whatever you believe in, has created on purpose. This is all purposefully happening with our the sun and the moon. Sun and the moon. That's how our hormones are meant to be. So if we're sleeping late, which is a big problem in this region, actually, people don't sleep early. It's a little bit stigmatized.
I think Netflix has got something to do with it as well.
So sleeping is really affected by streaming, social media, all of these things. So people say to me that they go to bed at 10. And then I ask them, what time do you sleep?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
because that's often 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So sleep. If there is one take-home message today, it really is for men, women, any children, teenagers, anyone who is watching, is protect and prioritize your sleep like nothing else. Until you do that, actually, no dietary changes, no exercise, no HRT, no GLP-1s, no vitamins, minerals, nothing will work until you are sleeping.
There you go. And so my holistic take on that, so I am somebody who, especially when I was working in fast-paced corporate offices, I could not get home and shut down the noise. So what I do, and I still do now every night, is I listen to binaural beats, and I have them on very gently, and it takes me off into a really nice sleep. So regardless of the stress levels that I have, it just shuts out the noise, and it does actually calm my body down, and I get good night's sleep.
That's an awesome tip. So anyone can find that like on YouTube, right?
Yeah, there's lots of there's loads of sleep not podcasts, like sleep things on YouTube and everything like that, and you find your own, because there are some that you're like, whoa, I don't really like that, and then there are some that are just kind of nice frequency music and stuff like that.
I think that's such a easy, free tip to do, and it won't harm you. It's not a drug. People need to look for things that are harmless and that have good like gains.
Yeah.
So something like that. I'm going to lastly just finish up on supplements because I get asked about supplements a lot. I'm sure you do as
Yeah.
well. And we will discuss HRT and hormone therapy, but I think supplements have their own role and they can really help. So my top supplements for women in midlife are vitamin D. So you should try and get your vitamin D levels checked. Magnesium. So vitamin D, you're going to have a blood test hopefully, and the dose of vitamin D that you need depends a little bit on the blood test. But magnesium is a bit different. The magnesium blood test actually is not super helpful. So we can take magnesium and not actually worry about overdosing because our body will just get rid of the excess magnesium. So vitamin D, magnesium, creatine. I don't know if you use creatine.
I do use creatine.
I use creatine as well. Creatine monohydrate.
Since not going to the gym.
Creatine monohydrate for women that work out, men that work out. It's very safe. It's been studied. There's so much evidence around it. It can cause a bit of bloating, but it's perfectly safe for pretty much everyone, including older people.
Yeah.
And maybe we can...
It's actually good, not just, it's really good also for things like brain fog, the cognitive stuff as well.
Yes. So absolutely right. So if you're sleep deprived, you can double up on creatine the next morning and that can help. Collagen, I get asked about that a lot.
Yeah.
Collagen is a bit of a funny one. There's, again, no harm to it. It doesn't count towards your protein goals for the day. That's very important. But it can help with skin, hair, nails.
Yeah.
The problem with collagen is it only works while you're using it. So if you stop using it, the effect kind of wears off.
Yeah. I've got some really good, I've got like a 7-day reset and I've got some really good lattes. And I've got like collagen lattes and mushroom lattes as well. So for those people that don't necessarily like to take, you know, like the sort of Western medicine kind of stuff, you know, you can get like your cognitive and therapy from things like, you know, the mushrooms and stuff like that. So I've got some really nice so if you want a recipe, just send us a DM because I've got some
amazing.
really good ones.
I've never heard of that before. That's amazing. So collagen, and then the last one is a multivitamin, probably. So there's no harm with multivitamins. There's loads of brands out there, aren't there? There's so many.
Yeah, again, I think that one thing we should mention, all of these are really good, but it would be good to get accurate doses.
Yes.
And also trusted suppliers.
Yes.
Because there are so many, even on Amazon and things like that, there are so many supplements that are just filled with so much stuff that you just don't need silicone and all of that kind of stuff.
You're right.
So it's really about getting the best sources of these. So
the two supplements that I recommend are Centrum, because that's actually been studied.
Yeah.
There have been trials and studies around Centrum. And the other one is pretty much anything from Vitabiotics.
Yeah.
So you and I are British, so we have affiliation to Vitabiotics. But those two...
Solgar as well.
Solgar's not bad. 7 Seas as well. So, you know, these are the kind of older brands that have been around for a long time, and they have a lot of data, well established, no side effects, very safe.
Yeah.
So I think those supplements, you will find one that suits you within those kind of 3 or 4 brands. Yeah. But I think a multivitamin is perfectly reasonable, no harm, and actually there's some evidence that it can really help with longevity.
Right, okay. Well, Sheikh Mohammed is talking about longevity, so that's good. Can I just ask, and I think that would be really good for our viewers, right? Because even for myself, until I started seeing someone, you know, when do you take these supplements? When should you take? Before food, after food, what time? Because sometimes you just get, again, on the internet, you know, we're like keyboard warriors at the moment, aren't we? Like, you know, this celebrity had that, let me do that. But we don't have like a proper structure of when you take your stuff.
So generally, it doesn't matter so much for a lot of these things that I've mentioned. Vitamin D has to be fat soluble. So it's a fat soluble vitamin. So sometimes it's better if you take it with a meal, like a fatty meal. But we have in the UAE actually a lot of vitamin D supplements that come in olive oil.
Yeah, so I have the drops.
So if it's got olive oil in it, then that's the fat. Yeah. So that will help absorb the vitamin D. The creatine doesn't really matter actually when you take it so much. Probably before a workout is the best time, and make it a bit of a ritual and a
my
habit.
son lectured me about not taking it for a workout. He told me it was after, but anyway.
I mean, I take it before, but I think again the thing with creatine is it's better if you just take it rather than, like, if you haven't taken it before a workout and then you forget. Just take it.
Yeah.
So that's that. Magnesium is probably better at night.
Yeah, I take mine at night. I actually have them on my bedside cabinet.
Yeah, so do I.
So don't forget.
Yeah, so it helps with muscle relaxing, actually, magnesium. Collagen, again, probably better on an empty stomach with a bit of vitamin C. Multivitamins, probably better on an empty stomach before you're going to eat. But actually, the only kind of definite, so the vitamin D must be with oil. The others you can tweak according to your lifestyle. Iron, if someone's on iron, that's a bit different. Your doctor will give you specific advice. The actual key message is, if you're on a load of other medication, prescribed medication, then maybe you should ask your doctor specifically about when to take these so it doesn't interfere with your other medication. But generally, these supplements that we've discussed can help anyone, man or woman, in midlife. But I think these are the things that I tell my perimenopausal and menopausal women to start if they've not been taking anything, for example.
Yeah, good. Awesome.
All right. Well, that was the end of episode 2 of our Menopause 101 series. We will be back next week with specifics around HRT. I know you've got a lot of opinions. I've got a lot of opinions around HRT. We will give our viewers the specifics around HRT, what to expect, what is available, side effects, all of that sort of thing. So if you've got any other questions or queries or anything you want us to discuss, comment down below. I'll put details of Sandra's programs and everything she has to offer, and everything that I have to offer as well, in the caption below. So make sure you like and share this podcast with people who you think can benefit. Anything you want to say, Sandra?
No, I think just keep tuned in, and we're going to try and bring you as much information as we possibly can and just build this community.
All right, take care until next week.